Madam President, I wanted to say a word about an article that appeared in many of the papers today, which I think is pretty scary stuff. And it talks about the Koch brothers being prepared to spend almost $1 billion in 2016 in order to bring forward their very right-wing agenda. When we hear these numbers about one family, the second wealthiest family in America, an extreme right-wing family, prepared to spend almost $1 billion in the coming elections, I think the American people have to ask whether or not the foundations of American democracy have been uprooted and whether or not, in fact, we are moving toward an oligarchic form of society. And I think as many people know what oligarchy is about is when you have very wealthy and powerful people controlling what goes on. And what the history of America presumably has been about is that ordinary people determine what happens in our country. Ordinary people elect members of the House and elect members of the Senate. And now what we have is one family worth some $85 billion prepared to spend in the next election almost as much as Obama spent, almost as much as Romney spent in the last presidential election. Madam President, my guess is that in the coming years, what you're going to see is that the major and most effective and most powerful political party in America is not the Republican Party, it is not the Democratic Party, it is the Koch brothers' party. They already have assembled, as I understand it, a political database which has more information than the Republican Party database. And we have got to take a very, very hard look at what's going on and determine whether or not this is what we believe our democracy should be: a billionaire family with more power than either the Democratic or Republican parties. In the last election, Madam President, the Republican candidate for president, Mitt Romney, spent about $446 million from his campaign committee, about half of what the Koch network plans to spend next year. President Obama spent $715 million in 2012 from his campaign committee. The difference is that Obama and Romney raised significant sums of money from people all over the country, people who may have contributed $50 or $100. And now you have one family preparing to spend almost as much money as either Obama or Romney spent. And that, to me, is a frightening situation. And it tells me loudly and clearly that we must overturn this disastrous Supreme Court decision called Citizens United.